Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here at 3TR, here to give you my official movie review for the newest installment in Sony's lineup of Spider-Man or Marvel-related films, simply titled Venom. Now, this movie was directed by Ruben Fleischer, whose last really good film that I saw of his was Zombieland, and this movie was starring Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, who eventually becomes Venom. Now, I don't want to go too much to the plot, because by the time this review goes up, chances are most, if not everyone who wants to see this film has probably already seen the film. So, just to give you a quick rundown, Eddie Brock plays as a reporter slash journalist living in San Francisco, and he makes a series of really bad decisions, which pretty much causes his entire life to fall apart. But, you know, through a series of events, he ends up being infected by the symbiote, or symbiote, depending on how you choose to say it, called Venom, and together they go on a bunch of crazy adventures, which has them being shot at and chased all over the city of San Francisco, wanting to save Earth from a massive invasion of other symbiotes like Venom. So, that's just a quick rundown of the plot. I would like to say this. There was a lot of hesitation about this film because I think a majority of people, I don't count myself in the majority, they did not think that you could do a Venom movie without Spider-Man. But as obviously the audience response and the box office numbers have shown, you absolutely can do that. And I'm in that majority of people that actually came out of Venom actually liking it. It ended up being actually a bit better than I was expecting. Now, the movie isn't perfect, so I'll just go over the flaws I had with the film first. Number one, I do think that the first act is a bit too dragged out. I think that until Venom shows up for the first time, it does feel kind of boring. Now, I do know for a fact that there was 40 minutes of this film taken out, and while I'm glad that they shortened the film, after having seen the film, I will really be interested to see if they will be an extended version of this film. I'm sure there will be, and I will be sure to check that out to see what they took out, because you can absolutely tell throughout this film that a lot was taken out. Perhaps some of the scenes that they took out might have actually added to the plot. Another thing that I also have a bit of a complaint about deals with the final act. Now, I know that for a lot of these superhero films, the third act has this massive fight that has like a lot of CGI, and this film is no different. When you see Venom take on the primary antagonist, you know, I can say that I'm not sure if it was just my theater or if it's just me, but I had a really hard time kind of seeing what was going on. It just looked like two giant, messy CGI just blobs just kind of moving around. The cuts were so fast, it was really hard to see. But other than that, those are really the only big problems, because everything else about this film I think worked really well. I thought the cinematography was great. I thought the acting across the board was absolutely fine. I thought Tom Hardy knocked it out of the park with his portrayal of Eddie Brock. I thought the character of Venom was absolutely perfectly realized. And some people have said that, well, this isn't really Venom. But if you really think about it, Venom, as most people know him as the ultimate villain for Spider-Man. But you have to understand that Venom had been influenced because he was rejected by Peter Parker. So the way I viewed Venom in this film is, what would have happened had the symbiote went directly to someone who had no hatred towards Peter Parker? It's very much possible that we would have had a much more, let's say, less angry version of Venom. And you do get that in this film, but that doesn't mean that he's completely like a bit of a, you know, a lightweight, because he does kill people. There is quite a high body count in this film for a PG-13 film. So if you haven't seen this film already, be prepared for that. But without question, the best thing about this film is the interactions between Venom and Eddie Brock. A lot of people were really concerned that you weren't going to see Venom a lot in this film, and obviously for those of us who have seen him, you would know that Venom is pretty much, once he shows up, he's there from that point on all the way to the end, and you constantly hear him. The interactions and conversations between Eddie and Venom are really great. And since this film has had such a great opening, I think it's safe to say that we will be getting a sequel, and I would like to see that dynamic continue to evolve into the next film, because there's definitely a level of progression between the two characters. They're definitely on complete different odds at the beginning of their, relationship, and by the end they're very much operating as a team, and I like seeing that. Another thing that I was really very interested in was the post-credit scene. Now, some people thought it was silly because of what happened in it, but I thought it was a pretty solid post-credit scene, or I should say like a mid-credit scene, I should say, which sort of set up what the next film was going to be about, which is something I think most of us who keep tracks of these type of films knew was going to be about, but it's nice that they confirmed it. One semi-complaint that I think I've heard from a lot of other reviewers, which wasn't really a complaint for me, but was something I could acknowledge, is that the style of comic book movie that this was kind of felt like something you would have seen back in the 90s. And personally, I was okay with that, because with, just in my opinion, with the MCU being so formulaic, it just kind of feels sort of just standard. It never quite goes below this. It doesn't go below the bar or above the bar. It just kind of stays pretty consistent, which is not a bad thing, but over time it just kind of wears out on it's been wearing out on me. So to see something different, even if it does feel like it came from an earlier decade, at least for me, felt refreshing, which is why I was really into this film. And I can openly say that this is, without question, probably going to end up being my favorite comic book movie I've seen this year. So if I had to give 2018's Venom a rating, it's got too many flaws and there's too many things missing, but I would give it a B-. I enjoyed it. I'm in that majority of audience members that enjoyed it too. I'm absolutely proud and happy to see that it's had so much success, and I really hope that what errors this film did make, they fix it and we get a much better sequel in the follow-up film to Venom. So that is my review for Venom. If you've seen this film, which I'm sure most of you who are seeing this video probably have, what were your thoughts? If you could give it a rating, give me your rating in the comments down below. And if you like this review, feel free to like and subscribe to keep track of me in my future movie and video game reviews. And you can also do that by pressing one of the links in the description down below to follow me on Twitter and friend me on Facebook. You can keep track of me in my future projects. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.